Sneakers and rap, two worlds that collided to reshape culture forever. From the early days of the music genre, rappers didn't just endorse sneakers, they transformed them into cultural symbols. Over the years, there have been tons of artists that not only endorse sneaker brands, but some who've even got their foot in the design room, sparking some very innovative looks and insane profits for all parties involved. But not all the creations were hits. In fact, some have been flat out ugly. Today, we'll devote some attention to some of the ugly ducklings in the bunch. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the top 10 ugliest rapper sneaker collaborations. But before we get started, please take a second to stop and hit all of those buttons that help us grow as a channel. And also, after the video, stop by and show our sponsor some love, us. At TakeFlight214.com, we offer hundreds of art pieces and apparel that any fan of the channel is sure to love. But with all that being said and out of the way, let's get to this list. Coming in at number 10, the Nelly Reebok Dirty. These were kind of lost to time, actually. Most people prominently remember Nelly's 2002 song Celebrate Nike's Air Force One, but not many remember Nelly's sneaker deal with Reebok 2 years later. Reebok saw what Nelly had done for Nike with just a song, so they figured they could make a killing if they gave him his own signature sneaker. But design-wise, it didn't land. Featuring a large Union Jack logo on the side and what looked like paint splatters on the upper, it's safe to say that they were a far cry from the Air Force Ones Nelly had previously hyped up. At number 9, Pharrell's Reebok ice cream sneaker. These days, with Pharrell having fashion's version of the Midas touch, it's hard to believe that he could ever miss with something. But before his days with Adidas and later with Louis Vuitton, Pharrell was offering his expertise to his friend Nigo and his Bape imprint. Then later his own Billionaire Boys Club clothing line. He decided to ink a deal with Reebok to do a line of sneakers in the same vein as the Bape stuff. Sounds like a good idea, right? Well, yeah, maybe on paper, but in real life, it didn't work so well. When we look back at the ice cream sneakers, sure, the colors were wild, but that's not really my beef. After all, loud and crazy color combinations were popping at that point in time, and it could have worked if it were not for Reebok's subpar silhouette design. This was at the peak of Reebok's downfall era, and it seemed like they were totally incapable or completely unwilling to employ competent sneaker designers. In my opinion, the ice creams suffered because Reebok let them down in their piss-poor design efforts. Coming in at number 8 though, the Questlove Nike Air Force One. Now this is a case of the total opposites of the previous shoe that we discussed. The Nike Air Force One is a classic, can't miss silhouette. But what bombed this sneaker was the colorway and overall design choice. On the surface, I mean, you got Air Force Ones, you got elephant print. How could you possibly go wrong? Well, maybe if you put the elephant print all over the shoe and combine it with a weird red and green colorway and a golden swoosh. I don't know, this may work for some people, but for me, it's a no. Hence why I made the list. Next up at number 7, the Michael Jordan LA Gear sneaker. Now I know, MJ is not a rapper, but he's undoubtedly one of the biggest music stars in history, and these shoes are terrible. His deal with the upstart sneaker brand was seen by LA Gear as a course-changing move, but design-wise, it was just too much. They tried to lean too heavily into Michael's style of buttons and straps and chains. In the end, it was definitely polarizing to say the least, but certainly not a global hit. Coming in at number 6, Birdman Lugs. We did an entire video on the whats and whys concerning the rise and fall of lugs as a whole, and the Birdman Lugs suffered from many of the same ailments that collapsed the brand. The main issue with lugs is that they never really had their own style. Their famed boots were low-key Timberland ripoffs, and when it came to Birdman's signature shoe, they continued the copying. The Birdmans bore a striking resemblance to Air Jordan 3s, but with cheaper materials and lesser design quality. The Stunners were no better. Again, they ripped off Jordans and people could see through it like a wet sheet of tissue paper. At the end of the day, the Birdman Lugs collab wound up being lost to history. All for good reason if you ask me. Number 5 brings us to the Jay-Z Sean Carter Reeboks. Another entry from Reebok in their couldn't care less era. Released in 2003, this was a time when Reebok was flailing in their fight against Nike and Adidas, and they were latching on to any branch that they could grab with their grubby little fingers. The Escartas were pretty clear ripoffs of Gucci Tennis 84 sneakers, but with less appeal. Although design-wise, these look better than the Pharrell sneakers in my opinion, the colorways were greatly lacking. Plain, bland, and uninspired. The Escarta sneakers never really got off the ground. Sure, this was in Jay-Z's button-up era, post-throwback jerseys, but not many took to them, and a few years later, they were no more. At number 4, the 50 Cent G-Unit Reeboks. Why are so many of the entries on this list from Reebok? One could only ponder. Also released in 2003, this was more crappy designs with a superstar name attached. In the early 2000s, 50 Cent was at the height of his run. He was doing platinum numbers in music, and Reebok thought that they could cash in on this as well. 50 being 50 later boasted that the G-Units outsold the Escartas 6-1, considering that they both launched in the same year. Which could be true or not, but either way, both of them were getting a screw job from Reebok design-wise. In my opinion, the Escartas actually looked better, whereas the G-Units looked like uninspired old men shoes. I mean, outside of being a 50 Cent stan, there was absolutely no reason for anyone to desire these monstrosities. Which brings us to number 3, the Game 310 Motoring Hurricane. Not to be outdone by his arch nemesis 50 Cent, Game, who recently had left the unit, decided that he too wanted to release his own sneakers. After signing with 310 Motors, the Hurricane was released in 2005 to lackluster reviews. Although they admittedly had more design flair than the G-Units, 310 had no business trying to make sneakers. Or at least if they were gonna, they should have hired real designers and not their cousins or whoever made these. Being an upstart brand with an unfamiliar logo is an uphill battle in and of itself. But 310 didn't do themselves any favors with the silhouette of the shoe. Sure, the release had tons of colorways, but it couldn't fix ugly. After less than stellar sales, 310 decided to discontinue the partnership by the end of the release year. At number 2, what do you know? Another entry from 310 Motoring, the Nas Disciple. A few years after their failed experiment with the game, 310 decided to take another swing at it by signing a legend of rap, Nas. In 2007, they released the Disciple collection, but sadly for them, they missed the mark by a mile. These shoes were hideous. I'm torn between whether they look like bowling shoes or something your 50-year-old uncle would have gone step dancing in. The colorways were bad, the silhouette was cringeworthy, and the patterns used were just a sin. All in all, these are best forgotten to time. What could possibly be so bad that it beats out some of these selections? Well, you might be surprised that at number 1, we have the first Jordan sneaker of the list. The Nicki Minaj Jordan Jasmine from 2015. God only knows what they were thinking when they designed these things. Glitter, shiny, silver patent leather. These look like some guy let his 10-year-old daughter design them. Absolutely nothing about these look remotely close to good. Granted, I'm a man and they weren't made for me anyway. But I can't imagine my wife or my daughter being happy if I bought them a pair of these. Although there have been a fair share of successful rapper sneaker collaborations, this list shows that for every one that is a success, there's at least 3 that are horrible failures, proving that even when using the name of a highly popular celebrity, it truly is a special thing when it actually goes over well. But what do you think? Do you agree with the list and the placement? Hit us up in the comment section and let us know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Liking and sharing these videos and commenting is the best way to help the YouTube algorithms notice us and help us continue to grow as a channel. And if you want to be updated whenever we drop a new video, which we do 2 of a week now, one on Thursday and one on Sunday, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. That way you can be reminded when each new episode is released. With all that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out until next time. Peace.